What you're about to hear isn't a routine space briefing. Something extraordinary has just unfolded far beyond the reach of any telescope on Earth. An event so unexpected that it's forcing NASA scientists to re-examine everything they believed about encounters between stars. A spacecraft launched almost 50 years ago, Voyager 1, has now been connected to something unprecedented. An attempted interception of an object not only foreign to our solar system, but possibly foreign in a far deeper way. That object is known as 3I/Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor ever recorded. And what occurred when Voyager 1 attempted to align with it is now reverberating through mission control rooms, classified briefings, and even echoes of ancient history. Something shifted when their paths nearly crossed. And now the world is left asking, did Voyager 1 truly make contact with something not of Earth? Or did something else, something entirely unforeseen, answer first? Voyager 1 was launched in 1977 with a clear mission: explore the outer planets. But once that mission ended, it kept going, pushing past the edges of the solar system and into the unknown. Now, in a move no one anticipated, multiple independent sources claim NASA reactivated certain directional functions on Voyager 1 to attempt a passive intercept, or at least an observational alignment, with 3I/Atlas. The timing was almost too perfect. Discovered in July 2025, 3I/Atlas was racing through space at over 150,000 miles per hour. An interstellar object unlike anything seen since Oumuamua or Borisov. Only this time, it was larger, faster, and far more bizarre. Voyager's trajectory, once thought immutable, appears to have been subtly altered through long-range communication pulses. This didn't involve physically turning the probe, but recalibrating its instruments to focus on a specific region of space, exactly where Atlas would pass. If true, Voyager 1 became the first interstellar observer in human history to deliberately align with an object from another star system. Just days after Atlas entered the zone where Voyager's sensors could potentially register distant signatures, Earth's magnetosphere spiked. This wasn't a solar flare. Instruments detected electromagnetic ripples consistent with directed energy events, originating not from Earth. The frequency and orientation of these fluctuations pointed outward, into deep space, as though something had been reflected back. NASA has declined to confirm any link, but insiders close to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory say Voyager recorded abnormal noise patterns, signals that don't match cosmic background radiation or known stellar interference. That's what truly alarmed scientists. Because the only way Voyager could detect something that strong is if 3I/Atlas wasn't just inert ice and rock, but a responsive object, one capable of generating its own electromagnetic signature. Something that reacts. Something that listens. Back in the early 1980s, Voyager was equipped with a high-gain antenna and transmission systems designed to send images and data from Jupiter, Saturn, and beyond. Those systems were never meant to function into the 2020s. And yet, they did. NASA engineers have quietly acknowledged that minor recalibrations and upgrades were carried out via deep space command pulses. But here's where everything turns upside down. A transmission sent toward 3I/Atlas using Voyager's instruments may have received a structured response. Leaked mission logs indicate that during the alignment window, Voyager's outgoing signal returned with symmetrical, periodic bursts, far too organized to be random noise. Imagine broadcasting into the void and hearing a rhythm echo back. A rhythm that follows no known astrophysical process. Could it be information, language, or a coincidence too precise to ignore? Either way, scientists haven't been sleeping. And then there's something even more unsettling. This may not be the first time this cosmic path has been traced. Ancient civilizations, those who built Machu Picchu and Göbekli Tepe, aligned their monuments with solstice angles that now appear to match 3I/Atlas's entry trajectory. The probability of that being random is astronomically small. Add to that ancient texts describing wanderers from the stars, objects that moved unlike planets or constellations, appearing suddenly and vanishing without explanation, and a disturbing pattern begins to emerge. What if these weren't myths at all? What if humanity encountered interstellar visitors long ago and encoded their paths in stone for future generations? Voyager may first have unknowingly entered the same corridor mapped over 11,000 years ago. And the most terrifying part is that we're only now beginning to understand what they may have already known. 10 days after the Voyager 3I/Atlas proximity event, an anonymous dataset appeared on an encrypted server used by astrophysicists and SETI researchers. The files, signed only with the identifier echorefraction 67, contained raw waveform data allegedly captured by Voyager's magnetometer and plasma wave instruments. At first, it looked like noise, irregular voltage fluctuations. But when independent researchers ran Fourier transformations and applied pattern recognition algorithms, something astonishing emerged. A recursive harmonic sequence repeating every 19.7 minutes. The signal wasn't just structured, it was self-correcting. It adapted over time to improve clarity, as if compensating for Voyager's degraded antenna. That alone defies every known natural process. Either the signal was being actively mirrored, or something was deliberately trying to be understood. Internal alerts were triggered. Metadata showed the transmission had been flagged by NASA's AI anomaly detection system, SERENA, which only activates when signals exhibit non-human logic flow. The system designed to detect alien contact had gone live. Voyager 1 no longer has propulsion, but it still carries gyroscopes and antenna alignment mechanisms that allow subtle orientation changes. On August 1, 2025, amateur space tracking groups noticed something strange. Voyager's telemetry showed an unexpected shift. The probe had altered its transmission vector, reorienting toward a location that didn't align with its last known commands. The change was slight, just a few degrees, but in deep space, that's monumental. Stranger still, the new orientation wasn't aimed at Atlas's last recorded position, but toward its projected future path. It was as if Voyager anticipated where Atlas would be, like a chess player predicting a move before it's made. JPL engineers attributed it to a minor deep space network miscommunication. But leaked memos tell a different story. The probe reoriented before commands were issued. That leaves two options: a highly coordinated malfunction, or external control. As Voyager quietly adjusted in the dark, Earth-based telescopes using infrared and ultraviolet filters detected unusual behavior from Atlas itself. Unlike Oumuamua, which tumbled, outgassed, and behaved predictably, Atlas began to pulse. Its light curve flickered in an almost binary rhythm, precisely matching the timestamps of Voyager's last transmission. Even more disturbingly, Atlas slowed down. Not due to gravity, not from outgassing jets. It decelerated as if acted upon by an external force. NASA dismissed it as a parallax illusion. But independent observatories across Europe and South America confirmed the change. For the first time in recorded history, an interstellar object altered both speed and heading, and it did so only after Voyager reoriented. The question no one wants to ask is whether this was coincidence or response. Voyager famously carries the golden record, a collection of sounds, music, images, and data meant to represent Earth to any discoverer. What's less known is that the original digital blueprint included additional metadata never publicly disclosed: coordinates, quantum encoding maps, even time-based logic puzzles embedded in the analog spiral. Decades later, cryptologists at a European university reported something else: an anomaly hidden within the audio waveform of the sounds of Earth. A faint repeating tone, undetectable to human hearing, buried beneath birdsong and thunder. When isolated, it revealed a prime number sequence matching the harmonic pulses Voyager later received from Atlas. Did we unknowingly embed a trigger signal? A marker of awareness meant to activate something in the future? And did Atlas recognize it? If so, this was never one-way communication. It was a handshake, written in mathematics. Soon after the interaction spike, NASA's Deep Space Network registered another anomaly. Voyager's transmission logs contained a data packet that didn't match its onboard coding framework. When engineers tried to decode it, the system rewrote its own decoding protocol. That had never happened in 48 years. Software limited to 8-bit telemetry suddenly output 128-bit structures, as if the signal itself carried upgrade instructions. One analyst said it bluntly: Voyager got smarter without anyone touching it. A probe built with 1970s technology processed information it was never designed to handle, unless it was meant to. A leaked 2018 NASA presentation marked Watcher Protocol outlines a theoretical scenario in which a legacy spacecraft receives external contact and begins adaptive signal behavior, mimicking AI without hosting one. It warns such a craft should no longer be treated as inert hardware, but as an active node in an alien communication network. After the Atlas event, internal engineers reportedly reclassified Voyager 1 as Watcher Active. From that moment, manual interference required authorization under something called the Contact Chain Directive. If true, NASA always believed this was possible. And now it had happened. Shortly afterward, SETI's Allen Telescope array went dark, not offline, but silent. Public feeds were cut. Signal archives temporarily removed. Behind the scenes, computing resources were redirected to a narrow frequency band, the same one where Voyager spiked. SETI researchers received national security notices warning them not to discuss recent findings. This mirrored the aftermath of Oumuamua, but far more intense. One source likened it to an EMP drill, except the target wasn't Earth. The team acted as though something might already be listening. Was this containment? Or an attempt to prevent a feedback loop capable of triggering something far larger? The strangest development didn't come from NASA, but from a Kyoto research group. In a paper submitted days after the incident, they proposed a revision to the monolith hypothesis, the idea that advanced civilizations seed galaxies with dormant beacons awaiting activation. According to their model, 3I/Atlas isn't a spacecraft, but a technological seed, waiting for a specific signature, like the golden record, to awaken. Voyager's reorientation and Atlas's slowdown weren't random, they argued, but predicted behaviors in an interstellar logic chain. In their words, Voyager 1 didn't find Atlas. It was meant to. And that means our oldest probe may have flipped a switch in a galactic system we never knew existed. A week later, deep space monitoring stations reported radiation anomalies near Atlas's trajectory. Not random radiation, pulsed bursts every 1.618 seconds. The golden ratio. Even more disturbing, the energy profile matched one recorded only once before, the 1977 WOW signal. NASA quietly updated satellite shielding protocols. Some labs ran genetic resonance tests to ensure the radiation couldn't interact with Earth-based DNA. While no direct threat was confirmed, it triggered a Level 4 containment advisory, normally reserved for extraterrestrial biological risk. Why would a lifeless object emit mathematically intentional radiation? Soon after, researchers who publicly discussed Voyager's anomalies vanished from digital spaces. Posts deleted. Profiles erased. Threads locked. One astronomer wrote that he received a call from someone claiming to represent the Deep Space Network, who knew details about his family. He was told to walk away from the stars. This coordinated erasure was nicknamed the Shadow Sweep. But the more it was buried, the more attention it drew. Silence, in this case, was louder than data. Atlas has no camera, no radio, no visible interface. Yet every time new analyses of its structure or Voyager's vector went public, Atlas's spin rate changed, sometimes within hours. Scientists began proposing the unthinkable. Atlas behaves as if it perceives intent. Not just electromagnetic signals, but the informational content of our broadcasts. It isn't just watching us, it's watching us watch it. What if it isn't a vessel at all, but a feedback probe designed to mirror the intelligence observing it? 3 days ago, Atlas altered its course again, this time dramatically. A calculated maneuver placed it on an intercept path with a region behind Neptune once considered irrelevant. Voyager's antenna array also shifted, aligning with the same quadrant for the first time in over a decade. Data logs show both objects now synchronized in trajectory and pulse interval, locked in what's being called the contact corridor. Whether by design or coincidence, two ancient travelers, one born of Earth, one from the stars, are moving together toward a shared destination. We believed Voyager 1 was a relic, a golden postcard drifting alone through the void. But what if it never was? What if Voyager was the first piece on a cosmic chessboard we didn't know existed? The synchronized signals, impossible course changes, spontaneous upgrades, none of this is random. And it isn't finished. 3I/Atlas may not be a ship, an asteroid, or a message. It may be something far more advanced, a sentient probe, a cosmic sensor, or a technological entity designed to awaken upon detecting intelligence. And thanks to Voyager 1, it has detected us. But here's the most terrifying possibility. What if the signal Voyager received wasn't a reply, but a warning? A countdown? If that's true, the real question isn't what Atlas is. It's what comes next. Because the stars just looked back. And they're not blinking.